Well, watching us on Wfmy News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the Wfmy News 2 app. So we have a lot to talk about today. Right now, we're turning to history happening in the making on Capitol Hill. We're going to go and take a live look in Washington, D.C. Here we go, where the first day of confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson just wrapped up.
Judge Jackson is President Biden's pick for the next soon-to-be open Supreme Court seat. If confirmed, she will be the first African-American woman to sit on the nation's highest court.
Right now, Judge Jackson sits on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. She's also served as a district judge, public defender, and sat on the U.S. Sentencing Commission.
All right, today's hearings ended with a word from Judge Jackson herself, in which she shared some personal notes from her childhood. All right, we're having some technical difficulties right now. We'll get back to that as soon as we can.
Yeah, we'll have those sound bites for you. But so far, no Republican has committed to supporting Judge Jackson's nomination. However, if Democrats vote together, they can confirm Judge Jackson without any Republican support. The Supreme Court confirmation hearings are set to continue over the next 3 days. We are monitoring them closely and will bring you the latest developments both on air and online. As we said before, this is huge. This is definitely history in the making, not only for people of color, but for women. For the first time, 4 women are now sitting on the panel.
And you know, I had time to listen to the tail end of what she was talking about and a lot of the personal notes that we mentioned. She has a huge support system and must have a love for family, because she went through everybody in her family telling what they've done for her, what role they played in their lives, and the love for her husband and her girls as well. So I love that family aspect to it.
Yeah, I love the entirety of the speech, but most importantly for me as a woman standing here with my natural hair, to see her there as a black woman trying to reach this powerful position with her natural hair, being exactly who she is. And she even mentioned the power behind her name, and I thought of how she's really walking to this as her truest self. And I think it's so important that so many people, like Lauren said, not only black people but all women, are able to see a woman walking into her truth in a high position and taking the reins. So hopefully everything works out well for her as she continues to pursue it.
Her confidence level was huge. I mean, you could feel the energy and really the power. Confidence is power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, it is. And you could feel that when you heard her speak, which is big, I think.
Yeah, this is huge. And as I said before, we're going to be excited to just learn a little more about her throughout these next few days. This is something we'll be monitoring both on air and online. Right now, we're going to get to our 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, we are working to learn more about a person killed in a crash early this morning. Deputies say it happened on Thomasville on Unity Street near Sunrise Avenue. They say the driver hit a box truck head on and died at the scene. They say the box truck driver has minor injuries. This is a developing story, so stick with us for the very latest. Right now, fire crews are battling a brush fire here in the Triad. It's burning in the town of Low Gap, that's located in Surry County. Crews have contained about 90% of the fire, but say more than 195 acres are burned. Fire officials are asking people to refrain from burning anything in their yards. They hope this week's rain puts out some of the hot spots. Right now, crews are preparing to demolish a building in downtown Greensboro. Today, they put up a fence around the property on North Eugene Street. For now, the city will turn the property over to the Carroll Corporation. They'll close the sidewalks and then work will begin. The city says the demolition should be finished by the end of June. It's not clear yet what the company plans will do with this space. Let's head out to Monique for a check of the forecast.
So with weather continuously being beautiful throughout the weekend and the start of today, it's hard to believe that active weather is in store for the midweek, but it is. I've been keeping a close eye on the southern plains. As you can see, this group of thunderstorms and showers is producing some quite active weather in Texas here, as we see some severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued with this line of storms. Now, that's going to be the case potentially for us as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. Not so much today and not a worry tomorrow, but drawing our eyes to our area on Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center does have us us, along with South Carolina, parts of Georgia, and further south, under a slight risk, which is level 2 for severe weather for Wednesday. So like I said, not a worry today. We've seen beautiful weather. Not a worry tomorrow. More nice weather is in store. But Wednesday is the day to be weather aware. Have the app downloaded and be tuning into the forecast to know exactly what to prepare. For the futurecast, here you see it. Tuesday starting out with mostly sun and a few clouds kind of making their way through. The brunt of the activity when we talk about the severe weather, when we talk about the showers and the rainfall, moves in early Wednesday, continuing very scattered, isolated showers and storms throughout the day on Wednesday. And then the greatest threat for severe weather isn't until the afternoon, and then clearing out by the evening and making way for drier conditions as we end out your Wednesday and go into your Thursday. Now, overall, this week's temperatures are going to be staying in the 60s. We get cooler as we get to the weekend. But the big story, once again, we're drawing our eyes to Wednesday as the active day for weather. Today, tomorrow, no concerns. Wednesday, that's when we have to worry about the severe weather threat. We're talking strong storms through the afternoon, as we're already starting to see signs of that when we looked west of us over across Texas, where we're seeing some showers and storms developing and moving eastward as we continue through the next several days. I mean, we're continuously watching the forecast just for you folks at home as that severe weather potential increases as we go over the next couple of days. So again, your Wednesday is the day to be weather aware. Have that app downloaded so you are up to date on all your weather news and what's headed for your area.
Check, check. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, they haven't said yet. They're working on it. So in case you didn't know, first day of spring was over the weekend. So now that we are officially into spring, the question comes to mind, what's your favorite thing about spring? I didn't know that I'd get about 200 responses on this. I posted it on my Facebook page to see what you had to say about this. And of course, everybody's talking about the warmer weather and what's going on with that. So we'll start out here with Susie. Susie says, being able to sit out on my screened-in porch. Yeah, we got that answer a lot with this. Moving on here, we'll see what everybody else said. Again, most of this was about flowers and warmer weather, kind of sitting out on the porch and enjoying things, watching the flowers bloom. A lot of people talked about smells too. They said that was very important. They like the smells of spring, and in some cases that's like freshly cut grass or flowers in bloom and that type of thing. I know for me, I kind of like when you have magnolia bushes. I don't know if you're familiar with that smell, like honeysuckle, and it smells so good out there. So everybody in agreement that, in fact, some of them were saying that spring was their favorite time of the year overall. You know, more daylight, the planting of the flowers, kind of everything coming back in and the color of all the landscape.
I love the daylight saving. I love getting off of work and seeing that it's so bright outside, and if I want to, I can go and take a walk rather than it be pitch black and I'm like, well, my day is over at 7.
I love the warmer temperatures and the longer days, like yourself, Lauren. I love the longer days, being able to see that sunshine when you're leaving work. It's like, oh, I can still have something, I could do something else, even though we could have did it before, but it just feels like you have more time.
And you know, Monique, we get all those comments too. I mean, the weather department, we're constantly, everybody's talking about how they love the warmer weather, and then by about August, they don't like us anymore.
They want to bring out their boots and their sweaters. They're ready to change clothes.
Ready to change it over. Do you do that, by the way? Do you put like winter clothes in one whole section and then switch everything out?
I have a lot of clothes that I'm already struggling with where to put everything, but I do have winter drawers where I have a lot of my sweaters and things like that, and then I have like drawers where I have more of my summer clothes and workout clothes.
So my wife does.
I think it's hard when you're in transition though, from season to season, where it's kind of still wonky, like whether we're going to be really warm or going to be really cold. So you don't want to put everything entirely away, because it's like I still might need the jacket or the long sleeve shirt because it's a little bit cooler.
Or we might need the snow boots, knowing North
Lauren,
Carolina weather.
Lauren.
Hey, I don't want snow, but I'm saying it's a possibility.
We're almost statistically out of the window, thank goodness. But you know, Monique, coming with also comes with spring or storms. Nobody likes that, right?
Yes, much more active weather. The warmer air is a great and perfect conditions for seeing some more active weather, and that's what we're expecting as we go throughout the week. This week, in fact, it's so hard to believe with weather conditions so beautiful today and even very nice tomorrow. It's hard to believe that we're talking warmer weather, which means more active weather as we go towards the midweek. So here's what you need to know. Scattered showers and storms with an afternoon, sort of early evening severe threat on Wednesday. What we're talking about in terms of the severe threat, okay, I hear you, but what can I exactly expect? Well, strong damaging winds throughout the day. Now that's going to be consistent, strong winds, but with some of those storms moving in, we could see some localized stronger wind gusts with each of those individual storms. Also, there is an isolated tornado risk with this line of storms. We're talking a very warm setup that is just the perfect ingredient for allowing for strong storms to develop. Flash flooding is also likely, but as we end the week, though, and go into the weekend, cooler spring air does arrive, high temperatures in some places in the upper 50s. So as we go throughout the week, we're going to start to see this setup change, and that Storm Prediction Center does, in fact, have us in a slight risk for severe weather, which is a level 2. And that's where we're bringing in those severe weather parameters when we talk about that isolated tornado risk, when we talk about those strong damaging winds, that flash flooding, all of those severe weather threats come with that slight risk. Now, again, this is a scattered shower storm event that we're talking about on Wednesday, not widespread, and everyone may not see it, but we always want to make sure everyone is weather aware across the central Piedmont. And that's what I'm doing today. So take a look at this full 7 days showing you what you can expect over the next several days. So your Tuesday temperatures reaching up into the 70s, 73 is the forecast high. And as we continue throughout the week, we're going to see these temperatures fall. But once again, before we get to Wednesday, we want to be so weather aware that we have our app downloaded and ready to go. Now, when we talk about severe weather season, you know, what do we expect? What do we do in the event of severe weather across our area? Oftentimes, we may have to break into your programming to discuss severe weather. That means maybe a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for your area. So the big question, oftentimes people say, I hear you, but I don't know where to go. So I have this graphic here for you, kind of explaining tornado safety and the best places for you to be in your home. The top floor, not the best place. We always first say get to the lowest level of your home. So if you live in a 3-story home, as this picture describes here, anywhere on the first floor is game. Now, if you have a basement, that's even better. So we want to get to the lowest floor of our home. In addition to that, we want to get to a room that has no windows. perfect place to be is a place with no windows. And why is that? Well, if there's strong winds and things are flying outside, they can very easily break a window, and that can cause further damage. And we want to keep you safe. So you want to get to an interior room in your home and get to the lowest level. So like I said, probably anywhere near a window is not the best case. I have this graphic here to kind of show you some of the best rooms in your home. This is sort of a setup here to kind of show you what a standard home may look like. Bedroom, garage, living room, kitchen, all those places likely have windows, not the places where you should be. Go into the interior hallway or maybe even the bathroom. That sounds kind of like, why would I go into the bathroom? Well, that is a very safe place for you to be. More than likely, they don't have a window and they already have that interior insulation, especially if you get into that bathtub, a natural barrier to protect you from any flying debris in the event that that does occur. Now, again, we're talking isolated tornadoes, a few here and there, but as always, as we continue through this severe weather season throughout the spring, we want to make sure you are weather aware well before anything happens. More details and your full forecast coming up after the break.
Yellow.
A lot of us have been told that everyone has a dominant side of the brain. Left-brained people are thought to be analytical and good with math, while right-brained people are thought to be more creative and artistic. Are people either left-brained or right-brained? Our sources are two psychology professors, the Johns Hopkins Science of Learning Institute.
Maybe you've heard of this before, the left brain, right brain theory. This is the idea that more analytical people are left-brained and more artistic people are right-brained. While the notion has been around for decades, is there scientific evidence to back it up? Let's verify.
A lot of us have been told that everyone has a dominant side of the brain. Left-brained people are thought to be analytical and good with math, while right-brained people are thought to be more creative and artistic. Are people either left-brained or right-brained? Our sources are two psychology professors, the Johns Hopkins Science of Learning Institute, and a study on left versus right brain dominance. Johns Hopkins and the Smithsonian Science Education Center say the left brain, right brain idea is considered a neuromyth, a common misconception about brain research. According to Johns Hopkins, quote, "There is no scientific evidence that shows individuals use one half of their brain more than the other, or that being left-brained or right-brained determines a person's personality, learning style, or strengths," unquote. In 2013, a group of neuroscientists at the University of Utah studied the brain scans of more than 1,000 young people. While the scientists did find that some brain functions occur in one side of the brain or the other, they found no evidence to indicate that people have a dominant side of the brain. The Smithsonian Science Education Center says the left brain, right brain myth originated from a study conducted by neuropsychologist Roger Sperry in the 1970s and 80s. The study found that the two hemispheres of the brain are specialized for different functions. However, the center says those findings were misinterpreted to show associations between specific brain functions and personality types. So we can verify, no. People are not either left-brained or right-brained.
Now that's really interesting because we always hear people say, you know, I'm a dancer, I'm more right-brained, or I'm more into science, I'm left. But I never really thought about it if that was an accurate thing or if it was just something that we said. So I wonder where it does root from.
I've never heard anybody say otherwise my whole life until, how long was that story? 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
When I was listening to it, before watching the story, I was thinking to myself, well, I think my brain must be crooked because I don't feel as though I side with one or the other, because sometimes I can be very creative and then I'm also sciencey.
I actually thought about you when I was reading this story earlier. I was like, you know, Monique, she's very artistic. You do your reels on Instagram and you're really into, you know, influencing and all that kind of stuff, but then you also know the science and you have that down pat. So I actually thought about you when I was reading this. I was like, she would be in both.
I'm on the brain.
I went to my dad in high school and he said, what are you going to do when you go to Carolina? And I said, well, my two loves are science and drama. And he was like, good luck with that. He didn't know what to tell me, but ended up TV weather worked out perfectly, right? A little bit of both.
It's always interesting to see how some people have such strengths. Like some people really are really good at math, but then when it comes to writing a paper, they have no idea what they're doing.
That's true. That's true.
I definitely see that duality with you too.
It was difficult because I was all in drama and then I loved chemistry and I didn't know what to do.
Okay, I'm not there.
I did like chemistry.
But I think this job actually is a mix of both for both of you because it is performing in a way, but it also is the science. So
yeah, that's right.
Great job. Well, we're going to keep it on the brain. Coach Lamont has a message about feeling joyful and how happiness is a state of mind.
Many of you woke up this morning feeling frustrated. It seems as if the constant blows in life are wearing you down and you're just waiting for the next setback, the next rejection letter, the next loss to push you over the edge. You may feel like you are moments away from the dark cloud of hopelessness setting in, and you're trying to hold on to times past where you felt that power of joy. No matter what you are experiencing right now, joy has never left you. It has been suppressed by the weight of circumstances. I want to encourage you to find something to express your gratitude. Expressing gratitude, even for the small things, will unleash your joy, and that joy will incite your strength to make it through to a brighter day ahead. It's time to change gears and shift your perspective and reclaim your joy. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Coach Lamont is enjoying the springtime.
Yes,
It's all out there.
Yeah, when he was talking though, I was really thinking about this podcast I listened to right before I came to work. I was watching the Steve Harvey podcast and he talked about the importance of having gratitude along your journey and allowing for you to have and enjoy the moments in life before you even reach success, you know, because it's all in the process and you're going to eventually achieve it. So it was crazy because I literally just listened to that when I walked in.
I think, you know,
like
major events, they can be good or bad, right? But it's the tiny little things day to day that really matter. And I think as the older you get, or at least for me, I start to look back and say, you know, it's the simple things that really make me happy. Like one of my kids saying or doing something funny. And watch my 2 cents, because that's kind of what this is about today. But kind of inspiration that you get from the tiny little things in life, because there are a lot more of those little things than there are the major events.
This also made me think about the importance of self-care and just having time for yourself, because when he talked about hopelessness, sometimes we could get overwhelmed by our thoughts and you don't have like a grasp on life. But sometimes you just have to recenter, you know, go out of town for a couple days, get a hotel or something, maybe journal, you know, how you're feeling, but sometimes we just have to shut things off just so we can like reboot ourselves.
And remind yourself that joy does live inside of you, like you said.
All the time.
Absolutely.
It's very good. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Like, I just don't function on not a lot of sleep. I wish I could be that person.
What?
Yeah, I'm here. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wish.
You know, if you're not a basketball fan, this week is tough because North Carolina hoops, they are in full swing. Both NC State and UNC women's teams hit the court tonight, keeping the energy high after two huge wins from both Duke and UNC men's teams over the weekend. It's all over the place. Our Amanda Ferguson is covering the madness bit by bit. Things are heating up, Amanda.
March Madness has been absolute madness so far, and it continues today with the women's NCAA tournament second round action. NC State and North Carolina taking the court later tonight. This comes after a wild weekend in the men's tournament. Both Carolina ACC teams still alive, heading to the Sweet 16. Saturday, North Carolina beat top-seeded Baylor in overtime. Hubert Davis making a run in his first year as head coach. Meantime, Coach K is still dancing in his final tournament. Duke beat Michigan State in a close ball game, and fans were there to see it.
Oh, it feels great. I'm a Duke alum, 2001, so I've been at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I just want to go all the way and take him out with a blast. It means a lot. I've been a lot of part of his history, but this one will mean more to me because we won't get to see him again on the court.
Back to the women's action today. As I mentioned earlier, NC State and North Carolina still in it, playing in the second round today. The top-seeded NC State taking on Kansas State over in Raleigh. That game is just getting started. North Carolina taking on Arizona later tonight. Now that is a late game out west, getting underway at 10 p.m.
This time of the year is when people, well, first of all, brackets are pretty much almost all busted.
Yeah, I've heard people
Thanks
in the
to St.
newsroom
Peter's.
like, oh, my bracket's
Well,
all
so many
messed
people
up.
had Kentucky going all the way, Amanda. I mean, that's one that I heard when that St. Peter's game happened. I could not believe it.
And St. Peter's is still dancing.
They're still there.
But the Michigan State Duke game, I was there in Greenville watching that.
Oh,
that
wow.
was such a good ball game. I wanted to see more of it, but I also didn't because it was just crazy, and I just wanted it to end and figure out who was going to win.
Get too nervous watching those games. I know for me in the past, when I've had the chance to go like that, like Amanda does, it's so hard to focus and concentrate, especially if you're a fan of that team.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're on press row, there's no cheering.
No, really?
No, they kick you off.
So how hard was it to like keep everything in when you saw your teams that you like?
Okay, so because I was following Duke, so I kind of want them to win, so, you know, we can go and cover that. But normally I have no problem sitting on press row, and even when it's my team, even when it's Florida State, I'm good about it, but watching that Duke-Michigan State game, that was so hard because it was such a close game and just such a good ball game as a basketball fan.
It was a good game. Amanda, you're better than me because I had to like almost put my hand over my mouth when I was covering it one time with Carolina.
Oh, if it was the Tar Heels, I can only imagine.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Gosh.
Yeah, I was straining.
Get him out of here.
Kick him out.
Alrighty, we're gonna switch topics now. Thank you, Amanda. Let's think about your favorite fragrance. Are you more of a flowery person or do you like more of a musky scent? Interesting. You'd be surprised by the list of scents some people prefer. In honor of National Fragrance Day, here's a list of smells people think should be made into perfumes. Libraries, money, dark chocolate, the world after it rains, and the smell of smoke.
Libraries.
It's a no
What
for
is a
me.
library?
I don't want to go on a date and a guy to be like, you smell like an old book. Like what? I think some things smell fresh and they give you great memories, but they're not meant to like be put into perfume.
And money is dirty.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
like?
Oh, maybe they're talking about like new money does have a smell, right?
But
You
it's
get
not a
crisp
good
bill.
smell.
I
It's
don't
not
think
something
so.
you want to smell like.
Do you have one that most people don't like? Because I have one that I like and everybody goes, what? But do you have anything that's kind of odd? I can tell you mine if you want. Tires, new tires. I love the smell of
I know
new
some
tires.
people love the smell of gasoline.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't like that.
understand
That's
that, but I know some
unhealthy.
people say they just kind of
That's
take it all in.
unhealthy.
But you've heard
not
people
good for
say
you.
that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I like in my home, I like cinnamons and
I like that.
sweet smells
Vanilla.
like vanilla and stuff like that. The dark chocolate isn't too shabby. I mean, chocolate is
bad.
kind of feel like already maybe a smell. But I'm still confused about the libraries. I'm still not there with it. I'm not.
Our producer yelled in my ear, like old books, like old books.
Yeah,
But
I
they
don't
smell
want to smell
musty
like
to
an
me.
old book.
Let me break out this Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, no, I don't.
I love the smell of like coffees and
I
different
like
things
that,
like that, but I
yes.
wouldn't want to smell like that.
So, you know, I'm
So I
funny
think there's
with-
a big difference between, you know, liking how it smells after, you know, a spring rain,
I like
but do you
that.
want to smell like
I
that?
like fresh cut grass. I like to smell it, but again, I wouldn't be putting that cologne
Yeah.
on or
Yeah.
something. You know, that's weird. I don't know.
The world after it rains not too terrible.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It still has like a musty smell to it though, so I don't know. Not for me, not for perfume.
Chat with us on Facebook. Let me know what you're thinking. We'll be back.
Well, happy Monday and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Monique Robinson, and we have our own Eric Chilton. Welcome to the 4 to 5 here on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
Hey, as we get into the first few days of spring here, looking good, at least in the short term, right, Monique?
It was nice yesterday, nice today, not too bad tomorrow, but Wednesday, expecting active weather across the area. I'll be talking all about it.
All right, you'll be keeping a close eye on that. We'll check in with you a little later, but let's get into your 4 to 5 roundup. Asheboro police are investigating after they say someone shot a 17-year-old in the head. Right now, the teen is recovering in a hospital. Officers say the shooting happened on Milliken Avenue just before 11 on Saturday night. Investigators believe the teen and a man were confronted by one or more people before shots were fired. Officers have arrested multiple people, but are asking anyone with more information to call Crime Stoppers. New at 4, a North Carolina man accused of making bomb threats in Washington, D.C. appeared in court today. Last August, Floyd Ray Roseberry was arrested after an hours-long standoff in which he live-streamed himself from inside a pickup truck he parked on the steps of the Library of Congress. During today's hearings, Roseberry's attorneys asked the judge for more time to prepare medical records for the case. They say Roseberry's medication wasn't effectively treating his bipolar disorder during the time of the incident. The judge granted the additional time in order to see Roseberry back in court on May 16th. Looking ahead, there's a hiring event you may want to make some note of. Tomorrow, Kinder Mission Foundation is hosting a career fair to help child care workers find jobs and keep child care centers open. As you may remember, some child care centers were forced to close or reduce operations during the pandemic. The event is from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Rotha Beth Church Road in Greensboro. To register, visit Kinder Missions Academy website. We have all that information on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
We turn now to the 4th week in Russia's deadly invasion of Ukraine. Right now, the war is not showing signs of letting up despite several days of ceasefire talks. This week, President Biden is preparing to take a trip overseas to discuss strategy with NATO partners as Ukraine struggles to defend its nation. CBS's Skylar Henry picks up our coverage in Washington.
Ukraine is determined to defend the hard-hit city of Mariupol. Leaders there rejected Russia's offer to allow civilians to escape if Ukraine would surrender the port city. But time may be running out for thousands stranded in basements. We have been here for 11 days, she says. We have some food and some firewood, but in a week we'll have nothing. What should we do? Mariupol would be a significant victory for Vladimir Putin, allowing Russian forces stationed across southern Ukraine to connect with soldiers in the east.
His campaign is stalled. He's not been able to achieve the goals as rapidly that he wants to achieve as rapidly as he wants to achieve them.
Russian missiles are also pounding targets in Kyiv. At least 8 people were killed in an attack on a shopping mall, the latest violence which appears to be targeting civilians. President Biden had a call today with European leaders about the ongoing crisis, and he travels to Belgium this week to meet face-to-face with American allies. On the agenda, possible additional sanctions against Russia, more humanitarian assistance for refugees, and military aid for NATO troops near the Ukrainian border. The United Nations estimates the war has uprooted about 10 million Ukrainians. For civilians left behind, the violence is overwhelming. There are now so many bodies. Volunteers are burying them wherever they can, including by the side of some roads. More than 900 civilians have been killed in the fighting, and that number is rising every day. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
All right, we're going to talk about our forecast now, and looks like middle of the week might get a little bit interesting, Monique.
Yes, it will. Can you guys believe on Saturday we reached 79 degrees? This is a look at a time lapse from today. We weren't 79, but it was still very nice. I mean, blue oasis just filled our skies. That sunshine really blazing throughout the entirety of the day. It was cooler, but I mean, really no complaints to look at Truist Field, that time lapse. Now, when we talk about Wednesday, that's when the severe weather threat does increase for our area. I'm putting a moderate outlook for wind, and also keeping an eye on hail, tornado, and flooding as we go throughout the week. So high pressure in place. Whenever you see high pressure, not really much to worry about, but things are going to change. Low pressure and a warm front is going to lift across the south. You can see this very strong line of storms making its way eastward and continuing to approach the midweek. We're going to see that line of storms approach the mid-Atlantic area, including the central Piedmont, as we go through the day on Wednesday. So I talked about how winds is going to be certainly a concern as we approach that midweek as well. You can see these wind gusts topping off nearly upwards of almost 40 miles per hour throughout the day. Despite the storms, we're just talking overall very gusty, windy day on Thursday, with those winds continuing through your Thursday. Now, when we talk about how much rainfall we can expect to see, now some localized places could get a dumping, but for the most part, we're talking about a half of inch of rainfall, with other places seeing less than that. But you can see for the most part, we're talking roughly around a half of inch, but that could change as we approach the midweek and these things start to come better into the picture of what exactly we expect to see across our areas. So temperatures in the 70s for your Tuesday and your Wednesday. That line of storms, the very active weather concentrated to your Wednesday, some of which lingering into the early part of Thursday, maybe even some more for the evening. But the weekend is mostly dry and cooler. You can see we're falling back down to about 58 on Sunday, but as a whole, we are trending warmer through the spring season. I just want to remind everyone to stay weather aware by keeping that News 2 app close. It's easy to download either with your iPhone or using the Google Play. Just download it and you can have all your weather updates right in the palm of your hand.
The National Black Theater Festival is back in Winston-Salem this year. Actors Petrie Hawkins-Byrd and Lisa Arundel will be the celebrity co-chairs of this event. Hawkins-Byrd is best known for his role as the bailiff Byrd on Judge Judy. And you may have seen Arundel in movies such as Living Large, The Second Chance, and Medea's Family Reunion. The festival was postponed last year due to the pandemic, but will be held August 1st to August 6th. More than 60,000 people are expected to attend this year's event. For more details, just look for this story on our website. Well, I'm really excited about this because when I moved here last year, I remember when they announced that it was postponed. And you know, I have a theater background, so this is definitely something that I would want to take part in, just to learn from all the different actors in the area. And I believe people from all over are coming here, all over the country.
And I'm talking, in some cases, all over the world. I've covered this many times before. I mean, they've had John Amos. I know we got to interview him one time when he came. Super big draw for actors that are, and I'm not talking about B-list. We're talking, get some A-list names in here.
I mean, the co-chairs, those are huge names.
One thing that I love just being around this area is just all of that I learned by being here and how many people are connected to this place that you don't even imagine. We've done so many stories where somehow, some way in their bio it says Winston-Salem or Greensboro or High Point. And you're like, wait, maybe I might be great one day because I have some roots now here too.
And Winston-Salem is so artsy anyway. I mean, it's, you know, the city of arts and innovation, and they live to that. With the School of the Arts being there, they've always had a natural draw, and that Stevens Center is just beautiful.
So I'm sure we're going to have a lot of follow-up stories or stories leading up into this festival. So some big names on the way.
It's very big. Make sure you check it out. If you haven't seen this before, it's worth the drive to check it out. It is if you live in Greensboro. If you're in Winston, you can walk there. Easy, easy. All right, let's talk about another story today. This is something that I love to cover because I like animals here. When someone is passionate about something, they usually run into it head first, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. And that's exactly what's happening with a few people in Reedsville these days. They're building a safe haven for rescued farm animals. It was the brainchild of Rick Clark and a labor of love. Now, once he brought in Michelle Beasley to work with the animals, they had their plan in place. Here's part of my conversation with them this morning. Welcome to Sweet Sampson Farm Animal Rescue. You want to pet him? I'm afraid. How'd all this come about, Rick? This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, we've had this in our family for many years, and we've had church events and family and friends over, and we've just had a great time. But about a year and a half ago, my dad's health took a turn for the worse and needed a lot of rehabilitation. So during that time, a lot of the liveliness, if you will, kind of dried up. And so when we met Michelle and she came on with her animals and rescues, we decided, hey, you know what? We should really put together a farm animal rescue and extend out. In fact, our biggest plan now is to build a big barn so we can take and create 3 or 4 paddocks that would accommodate rescues, animals that need a lot of rehabilitation as well. So we've partnered with veterinarians and other groups to help take care of them.
Come on. We've got potbelly pigs, we've got sheep, goats, a ram. We have Sweet Samson. We've got several goats, several miniature ponies, a Shetland pony. Come on, over here, come on. I love animals. It's been my passion for about 10 years. I started doing birthday parties and things like that, mobile, for about 10 years. And when I had the opportunity to work with them with a nonprofit, it was a perfect way to be able to rescue some more animals. I want kids to be able to come out and enjoy being kids. I want them to come out and do movies in the orchard. I want them to come out and play with the animals. We need something like that in Reidsville. There's just nothing like that. There's nothing like that for many miles away.
Well, it's all about family then.
It's all about family.
So if you look ahead, where do you want this to be in 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'd love to have the community as a big part of this. We want to build community gardens and have really just a lot of participation for anything from petting zoos and fundraising events and stuff where the community is involved here and we get to share this with people around us.
It's such a great idea that they have. By the way, you can check them out at sweetsamson.com. They're looking for not only donations of money, but if you can donate your time and volunteer or supplies too. They need, they're trying to build fences and build a barn. They've got this big budget and they're taking donations now. But the thing that I love about this is that they truly love animals, and but it's not just about that. They want the community to come be a part of it. They're going to have a concession stand eventually. They're going to have a pumpkin patch. All this stuff, events for kids left and right. So it's all about family with this. By the way, Samson is that big steer that you saw, and he wanders around, I kid you not, unleashed, because he's like, she said he's a 1,500-pound dog, that he just wanders around and comes up to them and rubs on them, and he's literally waiting by the front porch, she said, when she gets down there during the day. So it's an amazing experience.
Folks out in Reidsville must be just beautiful people. This is my first time in Reidsville. Earlier today, I was at a farm and a family there, they were talking about their hens that they have and what they do in the community. They have a blueberry farm, so they open up their blueberry farm and allow people to come. They're always thinking of ideas to engage kids.
It's the same kind of thing.
Right, that's why I'm like, okay, folks in Reidsville need to be more in Reidsville.
Monique and I didn't know we were both there.
Yeah, you were just like, was this in Reidsville? No, that's awesome. I love this idea of community and just opening it up to everyone to take part, and everybody can learn more about the animals that are in their community, and just it gives more purpose to what they're actually doing here.
And a lot of these animals are rescued from like a petting zoo situation, so they're used to the attention. You bring kids in, you don't have to worry so much about some of these animals have been brought up around people. I mean, even the steer, believe it or not.
I want to go.
It's cool. You really should.
It's relaxing to be on the farm.
Yeah, check them out, sweetsamson.com, and we're coming right back. Stay there.
We're talking about anxiety for people leaving their dogs at home.
Oh, that's my mom and my Coco.
Mm-hmm. Work from home, yay, with the dog. Some dogs get right up in there with you, right? Others are just content to be next to you or just around you while you work. Well, either way, I'm sure that you've seen or you've heard someone's dog or another pet in a work call at some point in the last 2 years. Yes?
Yes, I'm doing Zooms. They're like barking in the
Yep.
background. The person's like, excuse me, let me put my dog away.
I love dogs, so it doesn't bother me a bit. I miss my dog. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either when they're in there. I'm just like, it's fine. From dogs to kids to spouses, folks who are working from home are now returning to the office. Now, who from the list, kids, spouses, dogs, do you think people miss the most?
Coco.
Pets. People love their pets.
The pets.
I mean, we just got to be real about all this, right? All right, so check this out here. According to a survey of more than 1,000 dog owners, 41% expect to miss their dog more than their kids or their partner when they return to the office. 55% said that separation anxiety is their biggest concern about going back to work, separation from the dog. 76% are generally worried about the pet care problems that are returning to the office will pose. Now, kids, of course, you're going to take them somewhere when you go to work, but chances are you just like leave the dog at home, right?
She's by herself.
I know.
Look at that dog.
I know, doesn't that make
Waiting
you
for
sad?
Papa
Look at
to
that
come
sad
home.
dog.
I always felt bad for them, especially if they're waiting for you by the door. Like,
They
how long have
always-
they been
yep.
there? You know?
And I know, and I get
Aw.
that dogs sleep so much, but at the same time, I feel bad for my dog. And my dog was a COVID dog, so she has known nothing but people at home.
You need one of those security cameras where you can talk to them.
Oh yeah, and then it sometimes delivers treats. They even have one of those.
Yes.
So here's my next question: if you could work from home all the time, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
I would feel like I would get, want to break out the house.
What do you
every now
think
and
is
then.
the sweet spot?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I need energy from people. Like I need to be around people to get energy at times. Now, granted, I like my alone time, but sometimes I just need the presence of others to feel alive and well.
Right.
So I need a balance of that.
So would that be like 2 days at
2 days.
home?
I
Yeah,
get
2
what
days
you
at
Yeah,
home is
two.
good.
Okay. All right. So they asked about that too because I went looking for surveys. I was just curious what people said. ApolloTechnical.com had this survey from Owl Labs. These two stats really popped out to me on this list. After COVID-19, 92% of the surveyors expect to work from home 1 day a week. 80% expected 3 days a week. And 23% said they would take a 10% pay cut to work from home permanently. All right. We'll be right back.
Well, do you want one last look at the 7-day? Here you have it. We're talking warm temperatures for your Tuesday, upwards of 73 degrees by the afternoon. And that severe weather threat is for your Wednesday. Very warm start to the day. Temperatures falling as those showers and storms arrive into our area and continue throughout the course of the day. Going into your Thursday, those showers linger. And for the weekend, we're cooling way down to the 50s. As we go into your Sunday, a much different story as compared to last weekend.
Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
This is a mic check, and I hope it's a good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hassenfep Incorporated.
Who, me? Oh, okay. I didn't know it was me. Okay. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Mic check clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Was that for me? Mic check 1, 2, 3. I love the voices.
It's time for my 2 cents, and you know I love to talk about my kids, but I have to talk about my youngest. When she was about 7, she did this and didn't ask or tell anybody. I just found it, and I've had it up in my bathroom ever since. So you're going to get a shot of the bathroom where I am, my sink and my mirror, and to the left of it is a dry erase board that I usually use to do a to-do list for the day. Well, one day I came in and my little girl Drew had written this out. Instead of the SMT, WTFS for the days of the week, she had changed those into words and added a little quote of wisdom after each one. Sunday was snuggle. Snuggle in the morning, snuggle at night, snuggle with glee, and snuggle with fright. Then Monday was merry. She said, stay with loved ones and love your family. Tuesday was together, stay together, meet new friends, and trust people. Wisdom from a 7-year-old. Wednesday was wise. Be wise with your choices. And since Thursday's another T, she repeated the together part. Same thing with Saturday for snuggle. But F for Friday was feast. Feast on good food with loved ones. And it made me stop and think for a minute. Out of the mouth of a 7-year-old,